I got a question to pose to you. I got a question. Hey,
John,
Jerry, I'm controlling it now.
No, Jerry has to go. Jerry has to go.
Justin and I are having a conversation. Welcome back, everybody, to the Targeting Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Boys, how are we doing this week?
Doing wonderful.
Absolutely great. And hey, before we get into things, just want to say thank you all for all the love you gave us on the last video. Absolutely love you guys. Keep hitting that like, hit the subscribe, comment down below anything you want to ever hear us talk about, and we will. Just absolutely, it's just a great grind, you know. We love doing this, and we're happy to be here.
Doing this, we saw the numbers going 10, 20, 30, and then out of nowhere, this hit. Are we at 200 yet? We're at like 190.
I believe it's like 200. Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, so we're at like 190, 200 views. So that's just crazy. We really appreciate it, guys. Thank you a lot. And as Justin said, anything you guys want us to talk about, let us know, because we'll talk about anything.
For
sure. But yeah, so boys, we'll get right into it. Let's go play of the week. Justin, I know you're eager to do yours, so we'll.
Yes, sir. And I promised y'all last week that I'd be wearing the Tatum jersey when I was back at school. Except, and now I need the Jaylen Brown jersey, but I left that in Mass, so I can't win. But Jaylen Brown is my player of the week. Oh my goodness! If you saw this guy play in Los Angeles last night, the guy had 40 points on 17 of 20 shooting, 85%. The first Celtic to ever score 40 on 85% shooting.
That's got to be your stat of the day.
I mean, ridiculous tonight. He literally would not miss. He was just roasting. He was flaming hot. He averaged 28, 7, and 3 on the week on 61% shooting for the whole week, and we went 4-0. That's the most important thing, is that we went 4-0. The Celtics are turning it around, and we are looking much, much better. And all that was without Evan Fournier. So Jaylen Brown just went ridiculously nuts last night. Oh my goodness, it was a pleasure to watch. Just as much of a pleasure as it was to watch Tatum drop 53 last week. So the boys in green are rolling.
It's good to see the boys get back to their old selves. John, do you want to go with your play of the week, or do you want to go?
I will. And you know what? Actually, this is tough. I think I'm going to change it up, Justin. I might change it up. I'm between two Bruins right now. Jeremy Swayman. Because this man, I mean, we'll get into a Rask debate, I think. We'll have a little Rask discussion today, because I think we need to.
Yeah, because we'll talk about the Bruins too, yep.
But this kid.
Good to see Rask back out there, though.
Good to see him back out there
for a long time, and he finally came back.
Good to see him back out there. But this kid steps up. Vladar is obviously great as well. He had a couple great games too. But Swayman steps up. He goes 3-1 now for games. He has a 2.2 goals allowed, which is not bad for a rookie guy coming in the league, with a .926 save percentage. I want to give it to Swayman, but I need him to play a couple more games. But because he's a goalie, so he has a higher bar that he's got to.
He's also playing as we are filming this, and we're up to nothing.
He's 16 for 16 on saves.
Yep.
So I want to give it to him now, but again, it's a little early with this game. Who I'm going to give it to is Taylor. I'm going to give it to Halsey. Taylor Halsey. For 2 goals now. As of tonight, he had a tip-in goal. He had a goal the other night. And I'm going to give it to him because this is a guy who had so much potential. He's been just on bad teams. He's just been moving around. He's just not been fitting in anywhere. And I feel like I see a little spark coming here. I feel a little.
Hey, you know what? People sleep on the fact that he won MVP in 2018. That was recent.
I know.
So,
but I just still think like Edmonton wasn't his place, because I mean you have Draisaitl, you have there's just too much there. There's just too much for him.
Yeah, then he ended up in New Jersey and then Buffalo. He's on a winning team now. He's on a winning team. The black and gold. I hope we can get him extended real soon, because he's unrestricted free agent after this year. So hopefully he's not just a 1-year rental, and we can lock him up.
If the Bees can make the playoffs and play strong, and he fits in with the system, I don't see why he wouldn't want to sign back. Why would
I think he already said he's open to it for sure. So
why would you want to sign with a team who's going to give you so much money but not going to give you a playoff run? So that's my player. I want to give Jeremy Swayman my next player of the week. I just got to see him play a couple more games. But I do obviously want Rask back.
Yeah, and I have to say, I love for Swayman to have a week where you can make him it. But I'd rather see Rask. I need Rask. We've seen Vladar and Swayman for too long now, and we're trying to be a Stanley Cup contender. We need to get back to Rask and Halak. I love those two young guys, but we need Rask and Halak.
And that's another debate. That's another debate that I want to have with you is Halak. Going on 37, I believe now. Is it worth signing?
Is he 37?
So here's the question. Oh, we'll get into it. I'm going to just pose the question to you.
In a bit.
I'm going to pose the question to you, and I'll let Jerry go. But is it worth signing Halak back
It's a good question. And now we got two young kids behind
Swayman, or is it worth having Swayman be the guy that comes up and Vladar being the backup, or vice versa? You have two young guys. Right. Could he be a potential Khudobin? You know, I don't know. Could he be someone that can fit behind Rask? You know, he's got a young career. He'll be like the Garoppolo to Brady, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But Jerry, you can go.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. So my play of the week with Luka. Didn't have a he had like I'm giving it to Luka because of the just clutch game winner. This kid, once he got the ball, I knew he was gonna win the game for his team. I think he didn't have a great night. He was 50 from the field, but like only 30% from three. And
I think he had like 29 points though, and damn near triple.
Yeah, he had 29 points. And he's been like 50%, a little over 50% from the field his last three. So he's doing well. That was against the Grizzlies. I don't know if you guys heard about that game.
Oh my goodness, did I ever hear of it? The Doncic dagger, dude. That was ridiculous. That shot was insane.
Did you guys watch it though? So what happened before was,
of course, I've seen it many times.
Grayson Allen botches 2 free throws. 2, not even one, because if he hit one, then the game could have been Luka's 3 would have been just an overtime game.
Right.
Botched the free throws, and that put a smile on my face. But regardless, so John Morant tweeted at the end of the game, basically backing Grayson up. He was like, look, like, I'm really proud of my boys tonight, the way we played, and if a fan's giving heat to one of my teammates, so like they're not a true fan. Grayson actually had a great night. It was just that the 2 free throws that kind of,
that's brutal. I know. And for Doncic to make that shot while they were down 2 to hit that 3 to win it, like, it's just everything about that was just ridiculous. Luka is just magical. His nickname, Luka Magic, he deserves every single word of it. Like, he is literally
there was only one, I think 1.5 seconds left, and he just kind of went under somebody, put it up.
I mean, it was literally like a layup, like a floater from 3. Like, my God,
it was similar. It was similar to the Florida play a couple of years ago where Chioza.
Exactly, I thought the same thing. He was damn near under the basket. He could have caught the ball as it went through.
We talked about this too in one pod, where just moments like that, where like you missed 2 free throws, like what could that have done for the whole game? You would have gone to OT. Maybe you would have outplayed them in the OT. Maybe Luka wouldn't have gotten that ball back. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, we talked about that, how basketball is just so unique in that aspect, because it comes down to free throws. It comes down to those 30 seconds. What's the best strategy? It's like I forget what it was. Tristan Thompson, I think it was, right? Or who was it? No, it was J.R. Smith that played that fucking terrible ass move.
Where he just ran out the clock in the finals.
Just ran out the clock.
They were tied.
Just ran out the clock. It's like those moments where you just got to think. You got to fucking use your brain.
He was playing so well that it was like, all right, something's probably going to happen. And then the 2 free throws, I was like, all right, he might botch this. Maybe. I didn't think he was going to miss both. That was like, I think that's where people had a problem with it. Like, if he hit one, that's a tie game. Grizzlies probably get it in overtime. But that is
honestly hitting the first one is most important, because if you miss the first one, it's already in your head. If you make the first one, you miss the second one. It's kind of like all right, that's just my look on it. Because if you miss that first one, I just feel like it's a guarantee you're gonna miss the second in a moment like that.
I mean, it's not
more so than vice versa.
I was also shocked that they gave Luka, like, they literally allowed him to get the ball, and it was still a contested shot, and it was still a tough shot. But I mean, I was surprised that he got the ball regardless. I would have,
if I had $1 for every time Luka's hit a winner over 2 defenders, I'd be rich. I mean, he just does that. They get the ball in his hands, and that's it. No matter how many defenders.
Remember that fadeaway when he was literally like so far to the right of the basket and just went right over?
Oh, I mean, he literally has done this. He's already done this like a dozen times, and he's only a third-year player. He was doing it in Europe too. There's a bunch of highlights of him winning games with the step back in Europe. Like, he is just clutch. He's the definition of clutch.
Another thing I'm gonna really,
that's a good one.
Before we move on, I'm gonna shout out Jason Tatum, because we can't just the game winner against, we can't just discount.
That shot against Portland was insane.
We're gonna get into it. I just want to shout him out as an honorary player of the week.
We'll transition into Boston news. So Celtics have won 5 straight. Very, very promising, boys.
Dude, those aren't 5 bad teams either. These have been big wins.
No,
We just beat the Lakers too. We beat the Lakers, bro. Didn't I tell you boys that?
The Lakers without LeBron or Drummond.
But you know what? It's the Lakers, so it's the name brand.
It is.
Right?
But no, very unexpected. Did not see this coming at all. I'll be totally honest. I was when I was watching game after game, I'm like, wow, they're still winning. Like
we could take a 4th seed right now.
We could be somewhere in the playoffs. I don't know what our current.
We're tied for the 4th seed with the Hawks.
Okay.
So every game now, we haven't beat the Hawks. I think if we play them, I think we play them once. We got to beat the Hawks on that game.
And I think the biggest thing about my biggest takeaway from this too is that we did all this without Evan Fournier. He's been out with COVID since basically we got him here. He's played like I think he played 2 or 3 games.
It shows we don't need him.
It's the ball move. We do it, but we don't need him. But it'll help so much to get him. It's gonna be awesome to get him back. And we just look different. We're playing more connected on the defensive end. We're moving the ball more. Our assist numbers are up. We're just getting better looks. The guys are more happy for each other. They're celebrating in each other's accomplishments. I think I said that last week too, but it's true. Everybody's smiling, dancing on the bench. That wasn't happening earlier this year. And it's so great to see that. Man, this looks like a completely different team. And I'll tell you right now, I never ever said I was giving up on them. But I certainly now I'm feeling like, you never know. You never know. Sometimes things go your way.
I don't know. Go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, you see life in the team now. And it's not like it wasn't there, but we've always been the team where things click. We work well together. But when we're in a little bit of a slump, we're in that slump for a bad amount of time until we finally pick up the pieces. And I just love when Jalen and Jason step up and have amazing nights back to back. And just,
I don't know if we're completely out of the hole yet, just because
I'm not saying we are. We have a long way to go.
Looking at the rest of the schedule, it's not the easiest schedule.
No, we went over this last week. We got to beat the Bulls, because the Bulls are still playoff contenders. They could move up easily if we lose to them twice.
We face the Nets again. So, I mean, it's going to be.
I think we play the Magic. We play the Magic as well.
Well, the Magic are absolute ass, but.
Right. But I'm saying, but Justin, we've lost to the Kings 3 times.
Oh my God.
And the Pistons 3 times. So I would hold your mouth right there.
No, I know.
I just think, but it's good. It's good that they won these games. I think if it was 3-2 or 2-3 or God forbid 1-4, 0-5, it would have been a lot different story. So it's good that
we're done with that West Coast trip now too. Coming back to Titletown, feeling good. Everybody's playing connected. We should get Fournier back really soon. Also, I don't know if you guys saw, but about an hour ago, Woj tweeted out that we just signed Jabari Parker. Dropped Mo Wagner to sign Jabari Parker.
Really?
So I don't know exactly how much. Jabari Parker. Obviously, I think he won Rookie of the Year. He had a great rookie year when he was drafted. He was really good, but he tore the same ACL in his left knee back-to-back seasons. So since then, he's really not been the same player. Yeah. But he can go get himself a bucket. So I'm not mad about it. He's just one of those guys that can play down on the 4, on that 4 spot and make a play.
I'd love to see him try. No, you can go, Jay.
He's probably a better big than Wagner is, or has.
I'll take that. I'll take that for sure.
And you never know
about it.
I feel like the Celtics guys like this shine. Guys like this that are just undercredited. They're just we sign them for 2 years.
You never know.
He'll probably fit in the system. I already can tell that Jalen, Jason are just gonna get some great ball movement. He's gonna love the energy. That's the thing too that some players don't get when they go to other teams is the energy that the Celtics bring. And I know people are gonna disagree, but honestly. Tell me a team that in a COVID world really suffers the most compared to any other team when there's no fans in that building. It's the Celtics. I'm sorry. I know it maybe sounds.
We've had a tough year with injuries and Tatum's just now saying he's finally recovering from COVID. He uses inhalers before the games.
Yeah.
He's really COVID is still hitting him 3 months later. So it's just been a tough year for the Celtics. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, but here we are flirting with that 4 or 5 seed. I wouldn't want to face us in the playoffs if I'm any other team. I mean, I'm not saying we can beat one of those top 3 teams, but I'm not saying it's an easy out either.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's an easy out. But yeah, I'm happy with the way they've been playing. But
definitely
not. We got to shout out the Red Sox.
I was just going to say 9-4 already.
9-4.
And they lost their first 3, so they won 9 in a row.
Yeah. So
they were the
They
hottest
did
team
lose
in
the other.
baseball.
What was it? Either tonight or last night they lost to the Minnesota.
Their
But
last,
again, they're-
their last night, but
again,
then
we got to
today they got
remember
canceled.
baseball is so many games, and it's all decided by like 1 or 2 runs here and there. Like all of our games, besides a couple, have been like decided here and there, except for those Orioles games. Those Orioles games are terrible. We lost 3 straight. That was rough.
So do you guys think this is, I mean, it's still very, very early, but do you guys think this is do you think this is a team that will be this good come playoff time? Or do you think that this is kind of like just a little stint that's kind of like,
I'll tell you right now, I think that the Red Sox are playing good. I think we got a couple great players on the team. We obviously have lost 3 legends that, really solidified the team to be like playoff contenders, at bat, really like you wouldn't have that much pressure. I feel like you wouldn't be worried if you saw Mookie, if you saw Benintendi, if you saw JB, if you saw JBT going up to the plate. Now, I mean, we still got Devers, we still got Bogarts, Martinez.
Alex Verdugo's playing he's playing unbelievable.
Verdugo. So I think, honestly, it's one of those teams where you don't see big names really, except for a couple guys, now that those 3 have all left. But for some reason, they just click. Like, you look at the pitching, they don't seem to have very big name guys. Some of these guys have been in the system for a while, like Matt Barnes, Evaldi. Like, none of those guys are like Golden Glove winners, but somehow we click. And again, there's so many games still have to be played, and this Red Sox team has been through those years where they lose like 10 straight, we get in a slump, or we win like 20 straight. It's one of those things, baseball.
20.
It's exaggeration.
No,
But
I know.
it's one of those things where baseball is like such a long season that anything can happen. We could end up missing the playoffs next, after a couple more, So I don't think I'm going to just like right now say, yeah, we're a playoff team, because I still think we need some things in this lineup. And I think that what we lost certainly hurts more than how we've been playing overall.
What I like about this team is I feel like that since there's lower expectations, it seems like they're starting to play better. Guys like Eduardo Rodriguez have never been, and just other guys have just never been traditionally like that good. We're like, they're gonna mess up somehow. But I think the fact that a lot of teams, and I mean, frankly, me personally, like are just doubting this team, or like, all right, how long is it gonna be until like kind of the wheels fall off the train? But I think the fact that they don't have a lot of expectations might be what's propelling them to win a lot of these games. I don't know.
That's a good point. I'll be completely honest. As far as all the sports we talk about on here, baseball is definitely not my specialty. So I don't know how valuable my opinion is here, but I will say, seeing Alex Cora in the dugout there seems to be making a difference. It's good to have him back.
Yeah,
very good to have him back, and the team looks to be playing absolutely unbelievable. So it's good to see.
I also agreed. I think that has a tremendous
I think our management has always been important to the Red Sox. Always. Whoever it's been. Because of our playoff runs have always been because of our managers, our coaches, even our base coaches, everyone out there just working together as a team. We always just come up with a great strategy. And I think that's underrated here, because it's the same thing with the Celtics, I feel like, as well. It's the same thing with the Bruins, the same thing with the Patriots. Boston sports revolves around their management styles, really, and their connection to their coaching. And I just think that so far it seems like all these players, not just for the Red Sox, but it seems like the team is coachable. Because if they weren't coachable, we wouldn't be going 9-4 to start off the season after losing 3 All-Stars, and 3 guys that have won Golden Gloves. I know JBJ did, and I think I know Mookie did. I don't know about Benintendi, but still 3 guys that honestly may win a Golden Glove in their career. I mean, Mookie Betts has been hot with the Dodgers, and we've seen that. So it's just one of those things where the Red Sox are a team that everyone doubts. They're in a tough division. I feel like Boston sports always are. We have the Yankees, we have the Rays, who just went to the World Series.
Yep.
And the Yankees honestly have a great team right now. Still, they're still a solid team, but they haven't won a championship in God knows how long. Yeah. And that's just because I feel like the Yankees don't have the system that the Red Sox have. Now, that's not to say we're not getting into debate. The Yankees, Red Sox, because we're biased. But just tell me how many championships the Red Sox have won in the last decade compared to the Yankees. and look at how many times we've consistently been playing through the years. And that's not to say that the Yankees haven't had their good seasons, but still, we can get into the debate another time as the season progresses, but it's just one of those things where the Red Sox have just consistently had those, playable seasons where they have great coaching, they have a good system,
Yeah, we'll start covering it more once
we will. But I'm glad Cora's back. I feel like if he wasn't back after that whole, cheating incident, that would really hurt morale. I feel like that would have killed it. And it did kind of kill some of that, stuff I feel like.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to see him back. But and as far as baseball goes, we saw that obviously the no-hitter last week from Joe Musgrove. We had another one this week from Carlos Rodon. And he made it all the way to the ninth inning with a perfect game, but hit a batter in the toe. And so he gets away with a no-hitter, but it was so close to a perfect game, which is crazy. But either way, it's crazy that we got two of them in 2 weeks. Crazy.
I think I said this last week, but I think throwing a no-hitter is the hardest thing to do. And or one of the hardest things. I think it's in the top, 5.
It's one of, for sure. It's one of.
But it's like infeasible things that have been accomplished, multiple times. I think that and something else in basketball were very high up there because, again, consistently getting, some of those.
I think what the other thing in basketball was to put up a 40 ball on 85% shooting, like Jaylen Brown just did. I'm just kidding.
Good one. I like you. I like that.
Well, we got to move on. Let's move on to the Edelman news. So Julian Edelman retires.
And he signs with the Bucks. No, I'm kidding.
Low key, it feels like that, but we won't analyze that.
No, we'll cover that. We'll cover it.
Absolute legend. And I will say, you mentioned the Buccaneers thing. And I can't disagree more because at first, when I first saw it, I had that fear, obviously, like everybody else. But the way he has retired and put out the whole new line of clothing, everything that says Foxborough Forever. He's all about the Foxborough Forever brand now. He's just such a legend. I fucking love the guy, and I'm gonna miss him so much. He is an absolute legend.
Edelman, and I'm not saying that Edelman, I'm not demeaning him and saying, Edelman is this type of guy. But I am not gonna be surprised. I'm gonna say it. If Tom Brady texts him and says, "Dude, I miss you, brother. Can you come down to Tampa for a couple of days?" And Edelman goes, "Oh yeah, I'll come down. We'll throw the ball." And then Edelman will say, "Oh, Gronk's energy. Oh, Tommy, my boy." I won't be surprised if he decides to stay down in Tampa for a season. Try it.
No. I will adamantly disagree. And if he does, somebody clip this and prove me and come throw it at me because I deserve that. But there's no way.
I just want to be on the side where if it happens,
I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm just going to be on that side.
I agree with Justin. I also think Edelman is still a little bit resentful of Tom going to Tampa Bay after all they've been through, especially taking Gronk and I don't know if he didn't get an invite or whatever, but I mean, I'm sure Edelman's not in too good spirits with Tom after.
That's a funny way to put it. Didn't get an invite. That's fucking hilarious. That is what it felt like though. With that
yeah. So I think I wouldn't be shocked, but I'd be pretty surprised just because I
think he's a Hall of Famer, Jerry?
So that was the debate this week.
All right, let's get into the debate. Let's go around the table.
As much as I love Edelman, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry, I'll say it right now.
First of all, before we say our opinions, also let's just announce his track sheet. Let's go through what his accomplishments first. Let's just talk about that because
I have his stats up. Do you want me to say
because I want to discuss what we think Hall of Fame material is. And again, I'm not arguing for or against it yet. We'll get into our opinions. And I haven't even really thought about it entirely. I'm still, I just want to know what his stats look like. I want us all to be on the same page.
Sure.
Go ahead and read them off, Jay.
So read them off. Or Jerry, I think, has them.
Yep. Career games played. So he's got 137 career games played. Receptions so he's got 620 receptions. Out of those receptions, he's got 6,822 yards. He's got 36 touchdowns. This is his career stats.
Yep.
So he's got 36 touchdowns, and then I believe this is average yards per reception, which is 11 for his career.
Yeah, I mean, those numbers speak for themselves. And I believe that I think that those numbers alone, I would probably agree with you that I don't think he is. What pushes it over for me is the Super Bowl MVP against the Rams, and that is why I would say yes, he is a Hall of Famer. He has a Super Bowl MVP. He should be there.
I don't think that's enough.
Not only does he have the Super Bowl MVP, he has all the rings. So, does he have 3 rings? I think he has 3 rings.
3.
Okay.
Can I say one thing? We won't get into this debate because it's a totally different player, but I think he has a great career. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion, and let's just be honest, he was the MVP for one of those Super Bowls. And the other Super Bowl, arguably, he should have been the MVP with that catch against Atlanta. I mean, that's what really...
Yeah, that was an incredible catch, but there's no way that was going to anyone but Tom.
Right. But still, that catch is what gave them that game almost, because going that far downfield with that catch, that would have been tough. Arguably, you could argue, it would have been a little harder to get up the field. We'll never know how.
Oh my God! Well, that catch was everything. That catch was
everything. No, I'm not discounting that. Yeah.
But I'm not, Jerry. I'm not arguing here that he's a Hall of Famer. I am personally on your side.
I'm
on your side. I don't think he is a Hall of Famer.
So you're both saying no?
I think no, because here's the thing. Here's the thing. When Jerry read off those numbers, they're very low for a man to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you don't know he's Julian Edelman and you just read those numbers, you're saying, of course not. Even if I threw in the rings in the Super Bowl MVP, be like, nah. But it's because it's Julian Edelman. You're like, all right, maybe
this guy. If you know who he is, he made a living in the slot. He wasn't making long catches. The yardage isn't gonna be why he's in the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
Because all of it. He was getting rammed and nailed in the short.
No, I agree. I think
his entire career.
From a like how hard he. So here's what you're basically equating this to. Let me just make a nice analogy. All right. So you're saying because he played so hard, he deserves a Hall of Famer. Does Isaiah Thomas deserve to be in the Hall of Fame for how hard?
You're talking about a guy. We're talking about a guy that has 3 rings and a Super Bowl MVP. Versus a guy that had 1 good year.
Yeah, no, Jerry. Let's not go.
2 good years.
Stop. Let's stop. Time out. Don't be going across sports. I have a better comparison that we can make.
That's a terrible comparison.
First of all, it's a great comparison.
It's horrible.
Jerry, it's a great comparison. It's a good comparison. You know it is. But I will go same sport. Wait a minute. I will go same sport. I will go same sport.
I will go same. You two be quiet. You be quiet. I'm going to mention something. You're talking. You stop talking. Your talking's done. Now I control it. Another thing I want to mention about Julian Edelman is the fact that he is number 2 for most receiving yards in playoffs. Now he's very far behind Jerry Rice, but he is
second all time in receiving yards in the playoffs.
Yep, 19 games. He has 1442.
Lock him up.
Jerry Rice, obviously 29 games at 2245, so a very different margin. But the next one closest to Edelman is Michael Irvin with 16 games at 1,300.
Doesn't do it for me.
All right, real quick. Okay, you go ahead, John. I'll let you finish. I
just want to say, now you may disagree with this comparison, but I'm going to only use it because this man has spoken out against Julian Edelman being in the Hall of Fame.
McCoy.
And he is on Tom Brady's team right now. Now, LaShawn McCoy has said, come on, man. I have a better chance of making it to the Hall of Fame than Julian Edelman.
Wait. Did he say he has a better chance, or did he say he shouldn't be there?
No, he said he shouldn't be there.
He said he shouldn't be there. But LaShawn McCoy,
he didn't say
NBC Sports. NBC Sports, LaShawn McCoy, I've got a good shot at the Hall of Fame. Julian Edelman does not.
Wow. Okay, LaShawn, he's just an idiot.
Can I just say right now? I'll read you off what LaShawn McCoy's stats are, and just be quiet. You ready?
So obviously he was good in Buffalo.
2-time Super Bowl champion. He was an All-Pro, Pro Bowl, whatever. He was the rushing leader in 2013, rushing touchdown leader in 2011, 2010 All-Decade team. But Julian had one of those things too. Here it is. Ready? Receiving touchdowns 16, receiving yards 3,800, 3,898. Receptions are 518. Rushing touchdowns only 73. I'm only saying only 73 because that's for me. That's
what do you mean? He has more than Edelman.
Rushing average 4.5.
I get rushing touchdowns are different than passing.
4.5 yards. Rushing yards 11,000.
All right, I need to interject here because I'm going back. I'm going back a minute to the point that you just made. The point that you just made about Edelman being second all time in the playoffs. This is what I need to say to you, Jerry. I need to say this to you, Jerry. I'm looking right at you. You just tried to compare him to Isaiah Thomas. The very definition of Julian Edelman is postseason success. You're trying to compare him to somebody who has succeeded in the regular season only. That's it.
He succeeded in the playoffs.
127 point per game regular season.
They did not get to a conference finals.
Did not get to a finals. Julian Edelman has won 3 Super Bowls and has an MVP.
You're comparing Julian Edelman? Is it because of Tom Brady? Is it because of Tom Brady, or is it because of Julian Edelman? No, it's because of Tom Brady. Who else did
I'm fighting you about this comparison you made, which is blasphemous. You're comparing short-term regular season success to long-term postseason success.
Fine.
I got a question to pose to you. I got a question. Hey, Jerry, I'm just rolling out.
No, Jerry has to go. Jerry has to go.
Jerry
hasn't gone yet.
Fuck the comparison, okay? Get rid of it.
I'm glad.
But
you're
now,
wrong, bitch.
Whatever. Get rid of the comparison. I'll give you that. I'll give you that all day. Here's what I'm saying.
Terrible comparison.
No offense, but Julian. Screw you, John. Anyway.
Terrible. I've never heard a worse comparison.
The reason why Julian Edelman won so many Super Bowls is because of friggin' Tom. Okay? So that's what doesn't do it for me. If he wins a Super Bowl with Cam, who I obviously know is not the same as Tom Brady, but let's say he does, right? Then it's a lock. Then it's like, this dude just wins Super Bowls. Basically, like whoever he's with. That's why Tom puts it, that's why Tom's different, because Tom, whoever he's with, granted he's got great players on his team, but whoever he's with wins Super Bowls. Julian Edelman's been with the greatest QB in NFL history. I'm sorry, that might even be an unfair advantage. Like he might not be in the Hall of Fame because of that reasoning. But I think
I can give you a better comparison.
That's saying that he's got 3 rings and he's got a Super Bowl.
Can I just say one thing though?
So are you not going to give? You're not going to give Klay Thompson a Hall of Fame spot because he was with Steph Curry.
Yep.
So you don't think Klay deserves it?
Wow.
I don't think Klay is a Hall of Famer.
Wow.
Do you think, Jerry? Can I ask you a question? I think I know the answer to this, and I'm not degrading this player in any way by putting him on the same status here as Edelman, because I think he's clearly deserves the Hall of Fame ballot easily. But I will ask this: do you think that Rob Gronkowski does not deserve a Hall of Fame ballot because Tom was the one who got him there? When you look at his career, he is arguably on the top 5 tight ends ever. He had some of the most touchdowns recorded with a QB, and I think he has the most receptions by a wide receiver or a tight end.
Yep.
In the playoffs and in the regular season. Some of these records. So do you think that's Tom or do you think that's him?
I think it's Rob. That's different.
You think that's Rob? You think that's different? You think that's different when the record is held by a QB and the tight end? You think that's
Rob
different?
Gronkowski, and you guys know this. No offense, I love Edelman. But you can find great wide receivers in this league. No offense, but basically anywhere.
Not the build that Edelman is. Edelman's not a wide out. Edelman's a guy that will literally snap his neck over and over again, getting rammed in the slot for an 8-yard gain or a 4-yard gain for even.
No, I agree. I'm not
nobody else takes a beating like Julian Edelman.
Okay, but there's still other wide receivers that could replace his spot in a day. How many tight ends do you know in the league that can replace Rob Gronkowski's spot and still put up the same numbers? Like 1 or 2. Like Travis Kelce's either the guy or
I would be willing to say you could only find 1 or 2 guys like Edelman too. The way he plays, the build that he does, the way he literally kills himself in the slot over and over every single game for years and years and years.
But
here's what I'm going to say. I see, because I feel like again, I disagree that Edelman should be a Hall of Fame ballot. But let me just say this, Justin. What?
John Sweden over here.
What do you mean? What did you say?
I'm Sweden. I'm going to be Sweden right now. Because my opinion is Jerry's going to hate this, but Justin will actually, you probably won't agree with it. But I don't believe that Edelman's going to be the first name ballot, like the Peyton Manning, the Tom Brady, the Rob Gronkowski. I don't think he's going to be that first vote in. I think he will be considered. He'll probably be like a third ballot, fourth ballot, very low down there.
I think he should be considered. I never said that.
No,
I'm agreeing that it's obviously close. It could go either way.
I'm just saying that Edelman is probably going to be like a second, third, fourth, somewhere in their ballot. Other guys are going to probably get it above him, but his name will be on that list.
The argument's whether he's
I understand that. I understand that, but I'm just saying I think his name will be on that list. Now, at the end of the day, we have to remember here, and I think you both gotta think about this, because again, I think he misses it. I think he just misses it. Even with that record that he holds, Justin, the numbers that Jerry just read off to me as a wide receiver doesn't even put him in like a top 50 group, really. Like Randy Moss, so far beyond. Calvin Johnson, so far beyond. But listen, Justin, I see your point. The grit, the guts, the amount of like hitting like that man takes is probably way more than any other wide receiver on those lists that are in those Hall of Fame. That man takes so much like pain to get that extra yard. I agree with you there. His mental game, everything that he brings to that field, I would rather take that over some other guys, or I would want him on my team.
But it's replaceable.
But I will say that the talent that you can get from another player,
it's replaceable, but it's okay.
I hate to keep comparing sports, because every sport is completely different.
Then compare
But
some.
you could say the exact same thing about Draymond Green. Look at Draymond Green's numbers. Absolutely, he's not anywhere near any type of leaderboard anywhere. But Draymond Green is a lock for the Hall of Fame, whether you like it or not. He is.
Is he really?
And that's mostly due to multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year and obviously all the rings he has. But he's a lock, and there's no question about it. He is a lock.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because I think this will be a great. We'll move on, because I think we're all.
We do need to move on, but it's been a good discussion. I like the fight.
But I'm trying to be the Sweden here. Let me say this. I got an important question to ask. I think we should do this in next couple pods. Let's do a Hall of Fame discussion across all sports. We'll bring up names from whoever you think, like players that you think are underrated, players that you like, favorite players from any league, from our teams, from wherever. We'll pick a limited amount for each league, and we should just have the discussion. Are they playoff caliber? It should mainly be people that like are very teetering on the edge.
If we don't have enough content for one of the
like, obviously we're not going to
or like in the off season or something, that might be a good thing.
Like LeBron or Steph, because I think they're locks. But I think we should do like
there are a lot of cases like Jules. There's a lot of cases like Jules that are close, and there you can have good discussions about it. I think this was a good discussion. We should move on.
And I think we should do that. But before obviously we have that discussion, I think we need to lay out, because I think we're all on different levels here. Jerry is very numbers, stats guy. Justin, you're all about they're bringing to the
watching them play.
And again, and you're about what's watching them play.
You can't possibly say, Jared, you can't possibly tell me you've watched Julian Edelman for 10 years. You can't possibly watch him for 10 years and say that quickly that he's replaceable. You haven't watched them.
Yes.
All right. We're going to move on.
We'll move on.
We're going to move on, but we need to
I can name a bunch of players after that, and I can tell you he's replaceable.
We'd love to hear that, but we don't
Not that you want him replaced, but
Jerry,
he's replaceable.
Jerry, I love the sound of your voice.
I want him on my team.
Yeah, I love the sound of your voice, but let's move on.
Shut up.
All right. We'll move on.
Hey, Jerry, did you do your hair today?
Sweden. Enough. Sweden. Enough. So, the only thing I want to say is, I don't want to replace him. But he is replaceable. There's guys that aren't replaceable. You can't find another Tom. You can't find another.
No shit. He's the greatest to ever touch the football.
You could have. He's not replaceable.
Your comparisons are very bad right now. Your comparisons are Tom Brady, Isaiah Thomas.
There's players that, as much as grit and that they have, they can be replaced. Not that you want to, but if they go to another team, you can find other wide receivers.
All right. We'll just agree to disagree.
Fine. All right. We'll go to NBA news. So Justin, you want to?
All right, sure. I got some stuff, and we were just talking about him, and he needs to be mentioned. And I feel horrible that nobody made him their player of the week, but I couldn't not make it Jaylen Brown. Stephen Curry, I've never seen anything like what he's doing right now, if I'm being completely honest with you. He is he's on a different planet. The amount of threes he's hitting per night is absurd. He's literally hitting 7 threes a game. like that's ridiculous. Like the last 8 games, he's averaging 40, he's hitting 7 threes a night. He's literally just unconscious. He while shooting like 65% from the field and over 50% from 3. He's hitting 7 threes a night, over 50% from 3 in a season where he is literally getting molested and swarmed, doubled, tripled every single time up the floor.
Yeah.
He's averaging over 30 points this year on 50, 40, 90 field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage. He's that's ridiculous. That's absurd. I literally, you watch him, it's like magic. It's literally nobody will ever be what Steph Curry is. It is incredible to watch him on the streak right now. And as one of you mentioned earlier, he did just pass Will Chamberlain for the most points in Warriors history. So incredible feat there. Obviously, Will Chamberlain scored 100 points in a game. The amount of points he scored.
Will Chamberlain is like the Gretzky for NBA. Like he has so many.
I mean, for like a season, he was as far as
like a season. But I'm saying
not one season, like a number.
But he has so many. He had so many points because the game was a little different. Obviously, he scored 100 points in a game. That's unheard of. But Steph Curry obviously clearly deserves to. I think it was unsurprising to me personally with the amount of threes that man knocks down that he would surpass him eventually.
I think it's so like, I think another reason why none of us picked him is because it's crazy, but at the same time, we're like, we just expect it at this point. We
expect it. And you don't I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you both said it because what I need to say is I need everybody out here to listen to this and just understand you cannot take Stephen Curry's greatness for granted. And I put it on the targeting story the other day. And I will say it again here. You cannot take him for granted, especially this season where he basically has nothing to play for and nobody around him. They're not going to win a championship. And he's still putting up 40 a night. Like this guy, you can't take him for granted because once he retires, when he's gone, he's already on the wrong side of 30. When he's out of this league, we are all going to miss him so much and nobody will ever be what he is. So you just can't take it for granted. I know you say we take it for granted, but.
I just think it's because it's like, you double, you triple team him, he still puts up shots, and you're like, yeah, Steph Curry. And it's like no other guy could really do that. I don't think there's a guy in this league, I mean, maybe besides like LeBron or something like that, where if you double, triple team them, they're still going to find a way to get a shot off. Like that to me is insane. Like
maybe Dame Lillard. I love Dame time.
Maybe Dame, another player that doesn't get enough credit, but
absolutely.
But
it's small amount of players that can do that. Very small.
Crazy. Yeah, I think we all take it for granted. And I just hope that he gets back to because he's playing like a player that could bring his team to the playoffs. But I mean, he really has little to no help. So, but
I don't want to ruin my credibility here, and I obviously understand the incredible season that Jokic is having. Steph Curry is my MVP. I don't care what anybody says. This guy, I've never seen anything like it. Over 30 on 50, 40, 90 when the amount of the defensive coverage he sees.
If the Warriors were a better team, I think that would be the case.
I know.
Sucks, but
it sucks.
I think that it due to their kind of just they're not having a great season. I think that's why he's not like a real consideration at least. But
I agree.
Justin, do you have anything else?
The other thing, so I guess I just mentioned Jokic. We might as well talk about the Nuggets' huge loss. Jamal Murray tore his ACL. He's done for the year.
Good.
Huge blow for this Denver team that was a contender. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think this instantly makes them not a contender. Yeah. I mean, you never know what Michael Porter Jr. could do in a playoff series. He's a really good player. He could.
But Jamal is just a player. Jamal's just a quality player that team solidifies around. And you're not going to find another quality player that is available right now that's going to fit into the system. That's going to help.
And I mean, so Monty Morris will slide in at point guard, and Monty Morris is a good player, but it's just not.
Again, you're just going from like this high caliber guy that you can just really get a nice series around to just like an average guy who might be able to win you half a series, and you're just not going to. I just don't see it. I mean, you still have Jokic, and you still have all these. Sorry, Jerry. You still have Jokic. You still have a good team. When we talked about that 5-man lineup, that's still a great lineup. Right now, they're trying to get Austin Rivers. They're trying to get somebody on that lineup. I think just to get someone else in there because I think they realize that the 4-man lineup they have now is still strong, but it's not going to be able to defeat a lot of those teams in that Western Conference who are just so freaking strong. I mean, the Lakers without AD and LeBron are still playoff contenders, and when those two come
without
back,
them, or what are you saying? Without them there, or when they get back?
They're in a playoff picture right now. They're still in the playoff picture.
Right.
So that's what I meant. They're still in the playoff picture. And, assuming LeBron and AD come back in time, which
they will. Yep.
They will. It's very tough to play against LeBron, AD, Lakers team without Jamal Murray on that team. Jokic is still going to play very good, but again, you have Jokic, AD, you got those two going at each other. You got LeBron and Michael Porter. Maybe, but we don't know.
The problem with the Nugs is they're not missing Jamal now; they're missing playoff Jamal. So
exactly, I'm glad you brought that up.
I think that's kind of the real devastation here. I don't really think, I think for the regular season, obviously they're already in a good spot, but even if they weren't, I think there's a lot of guys that could step up on that team. Now they got Aaron Gordon. A lot of guys could step up. Michael Porter Jr., as you mentioned, Justin. But the problem is when it comes playoff time, that is where Jamal shines and where you get a majority of your points. So I think losing a guy like that and losing all that point production is going to really hurt them in the playoffs, and is going to be the reason why they don't get to where they could. I think they could still probably win a series, but definitely not contending as they would have been if they still had him. So
really, when the playoffs have come around, Jamal Murray's entire career, he is the best player on that team, as good as Jokic is. Last year, there was no debate. Jamal was the best player on the Nuggets in the playoffs.
When you get deeper and deeper into the playoffs, you start to really see teams. It's a 7-game series, so you start to see teams that, like we had this discussion. The Jazz, strong regular season team, right?
Who Donovan Mitchell went down tonight. Actually, looked pretty bad. I hope he's all right. He got to get help to the locker room.
That's another thing. If Donovan's out, that hurts the Jazz significantly. Because here's the thing: you have these teams who are very strong regular season teams. When you get into playoff pictures, you have to play 7-game series against the same team, and that team is going to start adapting to the way you play, and you got to start adapting to how they're going to adapt. It's just a constant battle. And if you have one guy on that court that's late, starting to lazy up a little bit, you got one guy on that court that's going to be the weak link. You got one guy on the court that is so good that ends up getting injured, and you don't have him. That kills, because in a regular season you can maybe get him back. You're not playing the same team 7 games in a row. Assuming that you go to a 7-game series, which is in this Western Conference, I think most of these teams are going to 6 or 7 games, depending on the quality of basketball we see here. I think that's undisputed.
I think it'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting to watch, but definitely a tough blow for them.
Another team talk about that the Nuggets got the best of last year is the Clippers, who have won 7 in a row. Paul George playing ridiculous. What do you guys think about this Clips team? Do you think they're legit contenders? You think they could win a championship?
I think the Clippers are just the Clippers. They're just not. I just don't see anything.
They are playing really, really good right now.
I know they're playing good. I just think, I don't know. Maybe losing Harrell and Lou Williams kind of just has opened it up for them. I don't know what it is, because they were great players for them. And again, I'm biased because I love those two so much. But with the Clippers, every time, I think I'm going to compare the Clippers to Gonzaga. I just feel like every time I put my money on them, they just fall short for me. They just literally don't do it.
I think if can carry this performance into the playoffs, then I think they have a legit shot. Because I think that's very underestimated thing in the NBA in general is the top, how you've been playing before you've been in the playoffs. So I think if they can carry this momentum into the playoffs, they can be a dangerous team. I definitely think that.
For sure. Yeah. I think that's a great way to put it, Jerry. I think that they obviously need to continue to play consistent basketball. They can't just all of a sudden be like the Nets earlier in the season where they're just going up and down. The Nets have leveled now. They're doing really good. Well, not leveled. They're going hot. They're finally found their groove. But the Clippers just can't have a system where they're just losing games in the playoff when they shouldn't be. And then now they're down in the series, and then they're up, and then they're just completely just.
What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I don't know. So they're up to the 3 seed in the West now. They only Utah and Phoenix are ahead of them. They really have been playing. They've been playing really damn good lately. And whenever I watch them, it feels like they aren't as good as they are on paper. It's something about the chemistry the way team they actually have one of the highest 3-point ratings in the league. Like they hit a lot of threes, they move the basketball, but it doesn't seem like it. It always seems like when I'm watching them, it ends up in a contested shot from Morris or PG or Kawhi. It doesn't seem like it, but it actually is. You look at so I don't know how I feel about them. If they had to go up against, I mean, you never know. I mean, the Jazz and the Suns, we've talked about on this pod a couple of times how these are teams that could, like, although they're 1 and 2 seeds, they could be taken down. Yeah. I don't know. I think they're definitely right up there, but I think Brooklyn is still would beat them even if they were to get to the final.
They do have a strong lineup. We got to forget. I mean, they got a lot of great guys on that team.
It's a really good team.
It's tough. Also,
adding Rondo, I will say, adding Rondo, they've won all these games once they added Rondo. Rondo has helped so much.
Playoff Rondo, and just like, the experience there. I will say this.
Right.
Quick live update. 3 minutes left in the fourth with them 97-94 against the 76ers. So it's a tight game.
Oh, that's a hell of a game.
So again, these are like games that are not going to be easy for them. I mean, they beat the Suns the other day, and the Trailblazers too. They beat. I think it was a while back, but still, they beat some really strong teams, and they're playing great basketball. So again, I just feel like though I'm still in the stigma where it's just like you hear the Clippers and you just think of just the absolute destruction that they caused in the last playoffs where they just completely unraveled. But that's not to say I think they have a different team now. I hate how they got rid of Lou Williams and Harrell again because I'm biased.
I don't know, actually. I think they upgraded. They swapped Lou for Rondo and Harrell for Serge Ibaka. I honestly think that's an upgrade.
What I will say is I think so long just having Lou on the bench and just, him coming off the bench. And he was a great bench play, the 6-man in. But I just don't think that works for them. I just think that that's too much talent. They have to start balancing around and shifting. And I think right now they have a good system. What they're doing right now, they're balancing the talent a lot better. They're moving the ball better. And that's unfortunate to say because obviously you want it to work out with a guy like that who's been in the system, who has like the 6th man of the year award all the time. But they've been playing strong basketball. You can't argue with the fact that they've been winning these games. A lot of them against very tough teams. They've, even against the tough teams, they've still held strong. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I think, good points made all around. I think we'll see. I think we'll know more once come playoff time how they're performing. But we got like 6 or 7 minutes. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to really hit on.
The last two things I was going to really throw out is just quick news. I mean, obviously, LaMarcus Aldridge just retired.
Yeah, best of luck. I hope everything's all right with him with the irregular heartbeat.
Yeah, that was sad. I was like, good that he retired, but the regular.
It's the right decision, no doubt.
When you play with a regular heartbeat, you don't want to be pushing something. I mean, if he has a not an aneurysm, but like just like a heart, not like a mini heart attack, something like that, where he's just like if it fluctuates too much like that, and you're exerting yourself at his age, and I think he's healthy. Again, it's just, your body, you're exerting yourself so much. Even as a guy like that who's older, I mean, it's the same with Vince Carter. You just got to watch yourself out there. These guys have been playing in the league for so long. You don't want something like that to happen, like that happened to Rich Peverly, for God's sake, But again, he had a
facts, dude. Facts.
But that was scary. You don't want that. You don't want that.
I forgot about that. That was crazy. Wow, that was crazy. I remember that.
And then the other thing I was going to just throw out is, Jared, do you want to say something on it?
Do you have any NHL news? I was just going to say you could.
I was just going to say quick on NFL is Browns sign Jadeveon Clowney.
Good one, yeah. Jadeveon Clowney
for their defense. Huge for their defense. I mean, you guys might disagree.
It is, but I hope Jadeveon has a rejuvenating season. He needs to get back to his old self. He has not been that since he left Houston. I don't know. Last year, he played on the Titans last year and had 6 quarterback hits, no sacks. That's not Jadeveon Clowney. Since
him and J.J. Watt, he really hasn't been one of the leaders. He used to be one of the leaders in sacks with Khalil Mack. He's not really been the same guy like J.J. Watt.
Browns is a good team for him. I think for a place to
retire. Him and Myles Garrett is scary. So
yeah, Myles Garrett.
Not scarier than Dante Hightower to Matthew Judon, but we'll move on.
And then the only other stuff for NHL, quick news before we end, is Jordy Ben gets signed by Winnipeg. From the Canucks. He said to Winnipeg, Canucks get a 6th round pick. I'm just looking through them. Washington gets Anthony Mantha, and Detroit
saw that. That's a nice pickup for Washington.
Jacob Verana. I mean, that's
Jacob Verana's good too, but Anthony Mantha is really good.
That's going to really help. And then we just have a couple of lower name trades here and there.
Actually, Dan, what I will say is before we do wrap up is we've given Russ a fair amount of slander on this pod, and I will shout him out just because he had 10 triple doubles in the last 11 games, which is ridiculous. Russell Westbrook has been balling out. In fact, that Wizards team, low key, the Wizards are the 12th seed right now, I think, or maybe they're 11, and the Bulls are 10, and obviously the play-in includes all the way up to 10. And the Bulls just lost Zach LaVine for 2 weeks now. They just came out. Yeah. So Wizards, the door is a little bit open there, and Russ and Beal are both absolutely hooping. So who knows what's going to happen there at the bottom of the East?
It'll be interesting. Definitely will be interesting.
It will be interesting. In fact, the Bulls have been worse since they traded for Vucevic, which is really, if I'm a Bulls fan, that is not a good feeling.
Not a good sign.
I do want to, I'm sure Justin knows it much better than me, but I do want to shout out for the Masters tournament. Get a little golf in here, changing it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Matsuyama.
Hideki Matsuyama. Yep.
Yeah, he ended with a minus 10 total, but he was going on a minus 11, minus 12 when everyone else was like a minus 7 or 6. So he was cruising. He went into that fourth round with that minus 11, and I was like, damn. Like I think he's he won, right?
Yep, he won. Yeah,
he won.
And
okay.
it had been over 1,000 days since his last major win. And the week before, Jordan Spieth picked up a win, and it had been over 1,000 days before his last win.
And
so
Jordan
a couple of older guys that are coming back to life. I'd love to see it.
Jordan Spieth also, he ended with a minus 7. He was tied for third, which is still very impressive in the Masters tournament. I mean, you have just so much talent.
You still got a hell of a payout for that.
And I think if I remember hearing correctly, Matsuyama is now officially the first Japanese man to win the Masters tournament.
You are correct.
Again,
I saw that as well.
Just another, impressive feat right there in itself, and he really killed it entirely. He just completely killed it.
Definitely.
So changing up sports right now.
All good things to mention, but sadly,
all right, boys.
But it's
been a hell of a pod, boys.
It's been a great pod. If you made it this long, you obviously like something. As always, like and subscribe and comment what you would like us to talk about next. Boys, it was great talking to you today or tonight.
It was an honor and a pleasure, as I always say.
And
yes, sir.
And we'll see you guys next week.
It's been real, boys. Peace.